Lapalux, Nostalgique.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Lapalux LP, Nostalgique. Lapalux is an electronic music producer based in the UK. I first ran into his music last year through an EP that came out early in the year titled When You're Gone. Came out on Brainfeeder Records. And this new full-length album of his, which he has worked up the courage to assemble and release, is also on Brainfeeder Records. Now, When You're Gone compiled a bunch of different electronic music styles together, current electronic music styles like wonky, as well as future garage, maybe a slight baby itty bitty bit of R&B. And stylistically, it was just a little inconsistent, kind of jumping around all over the place. And a handful of tracks on this EP I thought were produced maybe a little too densely, to the point where nothing really stuck out in terms of a groove or a melody or really anything interesting, because there are so many interesting things, or just so many very good sounds all sort of buzzing at once. I thought that this new album and When You're Gone, it's maybe not a night and day difference, it was maybe more of like a night and dawn difference. The biggest change on this new collection of tracks, Lapalux organizes his sounds so much better on this LP, resulting in most of these songs sounding much more well orchestrated. There are clear grooves, awesome synth variations that come through and translate very well. And what's also awesome is that this album seems to kind of pile on even more genres of music and still manages to come through sounding pretty good. Not too disjointed or anything like that. Because a good couple of tracks on this thing embrace a very awesome alternative R&B sound. And the overall result on this record is just an album that sounds blissful, psychedelic. There is one track though on this LP that caught me as being sort of Lapalux letting his maximal tendencies kind of get the best of him, the song Kelly Brook. It catches my attention definitely with how dense it is, but I'm still not sure what to make of the song really, with all of the pitch shifted vocals on this thing and the slow synth funk melodies. It does feel oddly sexy, but I still can't help but feel like I'm listening to some kind of vapor-waved bastardization of the Soul Glow ad jingle. Another track that kind of kicks off this LP, a track that was dropped before this LP came out, Girl. It kind of brings the title of this album home, Nostalgique. It's definitely got an 80s vibe to it. I felt almost a Peter Gabriel Toto kind of thing coming from the synthesizers, with the way that they were shaped in terms of a groove and just the tone of them, the sound of them. But still, as a song, the beat, a progression, a sequence, it doesn't really hook me, it doesn't really grab me. Honestly, this song kind of had me not anticipating that much from this LP when I first heard it. Aside from a very pretty opener on this album, Nostalgique is kind of off to a rocky start. Thankfully, it gets pretty awesome pretty quick right after these songs. The song One Thing, which has a vocal contribution from Jenna Andrews, is an awesome track and awesomely smooth and sensual, psychedelic R&B flavored slow jam. Not only does he make space for her very beautiful and emotive voice on this song, but he surrounds it in sounds that make it feel like it's from an entirely different solar system. I actually think the aura, the sonic aura of this track rivals some moments on the one and only Cosmogramma. There's another R&B flavored track later on the LP with Carrie Latham on vocals, and while it is not as spacey or as, I guess, intergalactic, it's a little more serene and subdued. It's really kind of the same strengths but on an entirely different track, and with some interesting future garage inspired vocal cuts sort of peppered throughout the song. And yes, on this album, once again, future garage music does show up as a prime influence. But I feel like on Nostalgique, Lapalux does a better job of combining it with his sort of Brainfeeder Records nature and style. Because on the song Flower, you get these Burial-esque vocal cuts and chops against this very thick, weird, bass-heavy, wonky beat. And the vocal melody on this thing is absolutely infectious. Fresh cut flowers. And Lapalux pretty much trips through this album consistently with different variations of this wonky future garage combo, along with some slower, prettier, vocal-led jams. But he brings a few more surprises toward the end of the LP. The song Walking Worlds on this album is easily just some synthesizer-led art pop. I love the electric piano on this track, the way it skips along on the groove, and the very shy vocals with the melody that they're singing that seems very lullaby-esque. There's also some vocals on the outro track on this thing as well, which brings up another surprise with sort of an acoustic guitar right at the start of the song. It sounds like it was recorded on like a tape recorder or something. There's a bit of a tape hum, and Lapalux starts to chop up all of these chunks of the guitar playing and the vocals, whether it be during the take that I'm hearing or through some other take that was recorded later in this vocal recording with the guitar, and he turns it into a beat itself, and it's a fantastically cinematic closer. Overall, I really liked this LP. I thought it was easily an improvement past what Lapalux did on When You're Gone last year. Not only is it more consistent, all the influences that he takes on are brought together in a more interesting and unique way. Most of the vocal-led tracks on this album are fantastic, really great intros and outros. Just a lot of highlights. Still, there are a few issues on this thing with consistency, coming together with tracks that actually feel like standouts instead of just filler. I'm pretty much feeling a light to decent 7 on this thing. If you've given it a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And yeah, that's it. Nostalchic forever.